Violence in the public sphere is escalating at unprecedented levels, and it's concerning. You and I need to talk about this. I'm Marcus Peter. So, some weeks ago, Luigi Mangione, he was accused, of course, of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And it was a cowardly shooting. It wasn't one of those things where it was self-defense. It was a deliberate attack. Well, now he faces the potential death penalty in the federal case. United States Attorney General Pam Bondi has formally directed and requested that federal prosecutors seek capital punishment if Mangione is found convicted. He also faces state charges, and he has pleaded not guilty thus far. The surprising thing, though, is that he's garnered significant public support, but not for the right reasons, both online and in person. This is just one of many cases, but the public support that he's received is to the effect of supporting, quite literally, positively encouraging what Mangione did, as if he is now becoming a martyr on the cause of the people. That's factually not true, and you and I need to be very cautious about espousing or touting that narrative.
The systematic murder is the same as murder with a gun. There's no difference. So he should be dealt like he would gun down a serial killer, He did a good thing, even if it's true. He did the right thing to gun down a serial killer.
But this isn't just an isolated event. In February 2025, over 100 supporters gathered at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse during Mangione's court appearance. Many of them donned attire and carried signs expressing their support for him. Previously, dozens of individuals, including former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning, appeared outside a New York court to show their backing for Mangione. As if the murder, I don't care what job he does, as if the cold-blooded murder of an individual, no matter how you might disagree with its corporate functions and policies, is validated. As if it is something that you and I ought to encourage. And it's really not. You and I ought to be very cautious about this.
Women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
A crowdfunding campaign on GiveSendGo raised over $830,000 for his legal defense. Donors have cited reasons such as perceived politicization of the case, but more than that, donors are saying because they're frustrated with the healthcare system. And so they're validating the murder of this executive who has become this kind of scapegoat of the issues that one might have with the healthcare system. The hashtag that's been trending over social media, hashtag #FreeLuigi. In December 2024, there was a YouGov poll that indicated 21% of American adults viewed Mangione favorably, but it gets a little worse than that. I want to tout other issues. I want to cite other issues at play here, because if you expand the conversation, Mangione and his murder, the murder Mangione did of Brian Thompson, isn't an isolated issue. New York Contagion Research Institute in April of this year said, it is a nationally representative survey conducted by them. 38 respondents felt it would be somewhat justified to assassinate the present sitting president of the United States of America. Every one of them identified as leaning left of center. Now, if you get closer to center, so that means from even mildly left of center, that figure jumps to 55% of people. 31% of all respondents, 48% of left-leaning individuals, also believe it would be somewhat justified to assassinate Elon Musk. Now, we've come to a point where we believe that the life of people in the public sphere is completely at our whim to declare assassination for. The fact of the matter is, if this was reversed in any way, we'd be calling this a hate crime, a crime of speech, a thought crime, what have you. This is evil. This is truly evil. April 13th, in the governor's residence of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This is Governor Josh Shapiro. He was attacked. The alleged attacker, he's being charged right now, being tried. He's been charged with attempted homicide, terrorism, aggravated arson, related offenses. But you can even go back. Remember during COVID and the 2020 riots following George Floyd's death? The fact of the matter is we are seeing a removal of the moral barriers that are necessary for us to govern a just and virtuous republic. When virtue is completely removed, the barricades are gone, and all of a sudden, everything, including temper tantrums, are validated as legitimate areas to air our grievances. Herein lies the issue. When adults act like children, the consequences can be dire. You're not just talking about destruction of property, you're also talking about potential destruction of life. Frantz Fanon, a prominent anti-colonial theorist, he argued violence is a necessary tool for the liberation of the oppressed. This is in his work, The Wretched of the Earth. Abraham Lincoln, however, in his Lyceum address, tells us, he warns us, if destruction be our lot, we ourselves must be its author and finisher. So as a nation of freemen, we must live through all time or die by suicide. That's what's happening right now. I ask you, my friends, to take a good look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you want to be responsible for the destruction of this virtuous republic? And before anyone tells me America's not great, and before anyone also tells me that America is not the greatest nation in the world, my challenge to you is name one. I mean it. Name a better nation than America. This is a Catholic response here. John Paul II, violence and arms can never resolve the problems of men. Never. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops in 2002, in a document called When I Call for Help, said violence against women inside or outside a home is never justified. But then it goes on to say violence in any form, physical, sexual, psychological, verbal, is sinful, and often it is a crime as well. If you're Catholic, let me make this clear. Do not pretend to morally justify this and claim that this is just or this is good. The Catholic response here is one of reclamation of virtue, not pacifism, but reclamation of virtue. So yes, education. Yes, talk about these issues. Yes, form souls rightly, but stand against evil and injustice. Thank you for joining us. I'm Marcus Peter.